In biblical history, two prominent figures, Caiaphas and Annas, emerge as central characters in the religious landscape of first-century Judea. Through their actions and decisions, these characters were intertwined with the crucifixion of Jesus and significant events in Christian history. In this video, we will delve deeper into the lives and actions of Annas and Caiaphas and what happened to them after Jesus' death. The complex relationship between Jewish leaders and Roman authorities. Judea, under Roman governance, saw a complex interplay between the Jewish religious leaders responsible for the temple's order and the Roman authorities seeking political control and peace. This dynamic was heavily influenced by the Roman occupation's limitations on local autonomy. The Jerusalem temple held great significance as it drew pilgrims from far and wide who came to offer sacrifices and fulfill their religious duties. The Roman occupation introduced a system of governance that limited the autonomy of local leaders, including the Jewish religious authorities. This system created a delicate balance between the Jewish leaders, who were responsible for maintaining order in the temple, and the Roman authorities, who sought to maintain control, political stability, and peace. This complex relationship set the stage for the events that would unfold, including the central roles played by Caiaphas and Annas. Annas and Caiaphas, influential religious leaders in a tumultuous era. In this context, Annas and Caiaphas emerged as influential religious leaders. Both belonged to the Sadducee sect, which rejected the concept of resurrection. Their positions as high priests granted them immense power and authority over temple affairs. However, the relationship between Jewish religious leaders and the Romans was marked by tension due to the ever-present fear of uprisings and the loss of privileges under Roman rule. As members of the Sadducee sect, Annas and Caiaphas represented a conservative religious faction that rejected belief in the resurrection of the dead. Their adherence to these beliefs had a significant influence on their interpretation of religious matters and their approach to dealing with theological challenges, such as those posed by Jesus. It is crucial to understand the historical context of tension between the Jewish leaders and the Romans to fully understand the actions and decisions made by Annas and Caiaphas, especially concerning their roles in Jesus' arrest and trial. Their contributions to Jesus' crucifixion become clearer within this context. Annas, a high priest of significance. Annas, unlike the customary single-term high priesthood, served multiple terms, underscoring his significance. Annas's tenure began around 6 AD under the governorship of Quirinius and continued until roughly 15 AD. As a high priest, Annas was responsible for supervising religious rituals, administering sacrifices, and enforcing religious laws. This made him not only a religious leader but also a key political figure, as the temple held considerable influence over Jewish society. Additionally, Annas controlled temple cash exchange and tax collection. Annas's influence extended beyond religious matters, encompassing political clout, tax collection, and currency exchange. Yet his wealth and association with corrupt practices led to a negative reputation, culminating in Jesus' expulsion of the money changers from the temple. According to Luke 19:45, Jesus drove the money changers out of the temple, accusing them of defiling the sacred place by turning it into a den of thieves. By AD 15, Roman ruler Valerius Gratus ousted Annas from office. Within a year, 2 successive high priests, including Annas' son, were also removed, paving the way for Joseph Caiaphas, Annas' son-in-law, to take their place. Despite losing his official position, Annas remained a prominent figure in Jerusalem, often called the high priest. His strategic diplomacy and likely hefty bribes ensured continued family dominance in Judea. The Gospel of Luke highlights the joint high priesthood of Annas and Caiaphas. While it may appear that 2 high priests served simultaneously, it actually underscores Annas' enduring influence even after a decade out of office. At this point, Caiaphas held the high priesthood, while Annas continued to wield behind-the-scenes influence. Caiaphas, a crucial player in the biblical narrative. On the other hand, Caiaphas married Annas' daughter and became a high priest around 18 AD. Like his father-in-law, Caiaphas wielded influence over the Jerusalem temple and Jewish society at large. He served as a high priest under Roman governors Quirinius and Gratus, holding the power to appoint high priests of his choice. The governor could manipulate the appointment and seize the high priest's sacred garments through political maneuvers. Interestingly, Caiaphas held a unique connection with Annas despite the latter's non-active high priesthood status. The removal of Annas by Gratus added complexity, leading to concurrent high priests, as noted in Luke 3:2 and Acts 4:6. Despite his removal, Annas maintained influence through his son-in-law Caiaphas. Notably, one of Caiaphas's most significant moments in the biblical narrative occurred after Jesus resurrected Lazarus. When word of Jesus' resurrection of Lazarus reached the council, Caiaphas posed the well-known question recorded in the Gospel of John 11:49-50. Let's read what is written in the Bible. "You know nothing, nor do you consider that it is not expedient for one man to die for the people, and not for the whole nation to perish." Caiaphas made this declaration to quell an uprising and safeguard the rights of the Jewish religious establishment. Despite his intent to quell unrest, Caiaphas didn't grasp the depth of his words. Caiaphas's words were akin to a prophecy, declaring that Jesus would die not only for the country, but also to unite God's dispersed children. Following Caiaphas's declaration, the council decided to have Jesus killed, reflecting the escalating tensions between Jesus and the Jewish religious leadership, primarily Annas and Caiaphas. Jesus' mission, advocating religious reform against established beliefs, led to his detention and questioning before the high priest. The trial and crucifixion. According to the Gospel of John, Jesus faced a two-part trial, first before Annas and then before Caiaphas, who was the high priest and leader of the Sanhedrin. In an unusual twist, John recounts Jesus being slapped during the trial before Annas, who questioned him about his teachings. While Annas may not have played a direct role in Jesus' trial, he likely bears responsibility for the arrest, trial, and crucifixion. Jesus was then taken to Caiaphas' residence to stand trial before the Sanhedrin. The Synoptic Gospels and John differ in their accounts, with only Matthew and Mark discussing the trial. The trial, held at Caiaphas' home, saw Peter's denial, rendering it unlawful. The sole charge against Jesus, claiming he could rebuild the temple in 3 days, lacked credible witnesses. Caiaphas then unlawfully pressed Jesus to declare his messiahship, leading to the verdict of blasphemy and death. It is crucial to emphasize that Caiaphas and Annas actively supported Jesus' execution by choosing to accuse him. Their religious and political influence played a major role in Jesus' eventual crucifixion on Mount Golgotha. Following Jesus Christ's resurrection, Caiaphas rejected the proof that Jesus had returned from the dead. He tried to assassinate Peter and John and issued an arrest order as a result. He later took part in Stephen's demise as well. Caiaphas was a key player in the persecution of Jesus' followers because he saw them as a challenge to the established political and religious systems. The fates of Annas and Caiaphas. When Annas realized he had played a part in the Messiah's killing, he ended his life in a deranged way by headbutting the walls. Around 36 years after Christ, a man emerged, claiming to be a reincarnation of Moses, and gathered followers armed for rebellion. Pilate stepped in, quelling the uprising and executing some of its members. This led to complaints from the Samaritans to the Syrian governor Vitellius, resulting in Pilate's removal from office. The strong connection between Pilate and Caiaphas may have led to Caiaphas losing his position as high priest when a new governor took charge. Eventually, Caiaphas faced a cruel execution by the Romans and was dragged outside Jerusalem. Furthermore, in the year 65 following Christ, Matthias, the grandson of Annas and son of Theophilus, assumed the position of high priest, succeeding Jesus of Gamala, just as foretold by Jesus. His appointment marked the last high priest before the Jerusalem temple was destroyed. These accounts of their fates provide a glimpse into the consequences of their actions, both for themselves and the historical events that unfolded around them. They serve as a reminder of the enduring impact of their roles in shaping the religious and political landscape of their time. Archaeological discoveries and historical verification. In 1990, 12 stone ossuaries were found inside a burial chamber in Jerusalem when construction was underway to widen a road. However, The names Caiaphas and Joseph, son of Caiaphas, are written on 2 of the 12 stone boxes. The bones of a woman and 4 young men are included in this sarcophagus, together with the remains of a man in his 60s. In addition, this discovery, which allows archaeologists to verify the existence of this New Testament figure, is significant because it belongs to a longer and more comprehensive series of discoveries that support the historical integrity of the Bible. As we navigate the lives and actions of these influential figures, it's essential to recognize the pivotal role they played in the development of Judea during the 1st century before and after Christ. Through their actions and decisions, these characters left a lasting impact on the religious, political, and cultural fabric of the time. Please like and subscribe if you find this video informative and engaging. Thank you for your time.